just doing some short runs for FSAirlines in the group I'm with. Figured I'd record some. I'm doing Miami to Key West right now. I'll do the 208, which is the aircraft I'm using. And hopefully that didn't mess up my streaming audio. I had the wrong speakers. I'm using the 208, delivering packages. I've already got my plan set, and FSAirlines here. Booked a flight. I have 9 passengers, and actually it's 11 somewhere in there. It should tell me there's 11 packages that add up to this. It's only 112 miles. I created just a straight 2. I'm using a little nav, just a straight 2. Because I can't, the problem with FSAirlines is you don't know the winds. If you're using live winds like I like to do, then you don't know the winds or whatever, so I don't know my destination airport until after I load in. So get loaded in and I'll start the client. So I tend to take off. I'll just set a direct to kind of way, route, use that to load my flight, and then I'll set my approach in the G1000, and then I'll just correct my little nav map to match once I know which runway I need. Normally on short trips like this, you would be able to determine that, either directly calling them or getting their ATIS off the internet before you left, and chances are in 100 miles and less than an hour it wouldn't change. On longer flights, this is how I would make it work better. Okay, I'm gonna zero in on my route, see where I am, and it's the same thing. Okay, I need to start my app so I don't forget. I tend to forget this dang thing. Flight info. Fly. Load initial. Will make us 300 pounds each. And we're flying. Okay. And we still have a little extra we could have loaded, but fly. Alright. We are ready. Now let's see. I'm not doing something. On starter. I think we're ready. Let's see. Yeah. Get everything set here, I think. The other thing I needed to do that I hadn't is brought these out so I can see them over here. I like to do this before I move because it kind of freezes everything when you mess with the windows on the other side. Alright, now we're ready. And I hate doing ATC in game because it's wrong. It always, I don't know. I should have tried live or live players instead of all players. It may be better. I'm thinking maybe I need to try the live players instead of the all players. Maybe they'll give you the right runways. But I use all live weather, and every time I ask, I use the in-game ATC, they send me to the wrong runway. In this case, yesterday I had to cancel the landing instructions because they were literally sending me to to land at a 12-mile tailwind, and I just didn't feel like it. And I can expand this back out. Know where I'm going there. I can go ahead and set my approach to runway 09 while I'm doing this taxi. If I can do it without running off the road, we'll see. I gotta zoom in pretty good here. Do we? There we go. Now that I see the wind, on vectors. Load. Okay. And we're going to now. So now I'll adjust this. There it is, way out here. That should line up with my runway, with this one now. Alright, now we're ready. I still haven't done the frequencies. That's what I should do. Let's see. I don't have any frequencies, never mind. This isn't a localizer, so my bad. Coming back, I'll have to set the radio and the nav1 CDI for the localizer. Well, I don't have to, but it just gives you the localizer if you want it. Just the early one. Let's go ahead and take off from here. We got plenty of runway. Same thing. If I called ATC for takeoff clearance, they'd probably send me to the wrong runway, taking off downwind instead of in the wind. So I don't bother with it. Miami here is pretty rough. On my FPS. Headed the wrong way, so we got to turn completely around. Get turned around before I get locked on my autopilot here. That should do us. The nav will take us to the red line, and we're just watching for altitude. Later, Miami. Well, we are 17. Let's go ahead and set up our, get rid of our, I'm burning a lot of fuel here trying to get to altitude, and I'm not climbing fast enough. That. There you go, up to about 35 maybe. expedite this climb to altitude. So I can throttle back. FSAirlines, a lot of it is about your fuel. You know, you can only put so, depending on how much passengers and payload you use, you can only have so much fuel, or it, you know, won't load up. So a lot of it is just calculating and figuring your fuel plus what you can haul and so on and so forth.
Frontier Flight 29er, 61 Heavy, you are 15 miles west. Climb and maintain 3,000 feet, expect ILS runway 12 approach by GLRIA transition. Cleared to GLRIA. Frontier Flight 29er, 61 Heavy, you are 14 miles west of Miami. Contact Miami Tower on 123.9er when inbound. Tower on 123.9er, Frontier Flight 29er, 61 Heavy.
I need to throttle back. I wasn't paying attention there. There we go. I've noticed, and I did report it to working title, that this thing, at first, because I fly in a group and we have a performance mod for this aircraft, and for a while, see how it's rolling to the right. Here in a minute it'll turn back and it'll roll, but it has some yaw drift, and it just rolls back and forth. You can even see it on a little nav map. And forever we thought it might be in our performance mod, but it turned out it was in the NXI. I'm not sure if it's only this aircraft, the only one I tested, but so I reported it to working title. See, now it's rolling back to the left. It's only a few degrees, but it continually just rolls back and forth. And not a problem. It's just kind of odd, reminiscent of operating boats in Mobile for me. I don't bother. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm used to it. You know, boats are the same way. They'll sway back and forth, and you don't. You know, it's important not to oversteer, not to try and correct for every sway, because you know waves will make it go one way, but chances are the swell will make it go back the other. So you got to kind of ride it out and let it move around and keep it in the general direction. But it's just
671, you are 26 miles west.
It's odd. We noticed it and thought it was something we had done.
Runway 12 approach via GLRIA transition. Cleared to GLRIA. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 12 approach via GLRIA transition. Cleared to GLRIA on Boy 3671.
Get rid of that squawk. We don't need to listen to that. Just tune in anything. You can do it via the radios too. here. Change the radio station. I've made this flight a few times. And the livery is Caro Carbon Prop, one of our fearless leaders in the group I fly with. He does. It's actually a remake from like a XP FSX livery that he made, upgraded for the new flight sim. This is a recolor. I made it blue. The default is orange. I'm not a big orange guy, so I repainted it blue. These short flights are great for FSAirlines for the pilot, PIC pilot in charge, because you can carry a max load of cargo and passengers. And in this airplane, you can carry FSAirlines, not game. In FSAirlines, you can carry up to 9 passengers plus roughly 1,000 pounds of cargo. And with that max load, you can still get about 200 miles worth of fuel. So anything 100 to 200 miles, you can carry a max load. Works out great. Anything over that, then you have to be more careful and reduce what you're hauling, which means you pay less. They pay more for distance too, so it all works out about the same. I should say it works out about the same for me as the pilot. I think the airline itself makes more on short runs because I make the same, but they're paying more for long distance. But the airline has to pay more for fuel, so I don't know that it's any different or better or worse for them. Even on this one, you can tell I'm pretty tight on fuel, or pretty low on fuel. I'm not carrying tons. In fact, I'm starting out with 600. Oops. Starting out with 600, which is 100 more than I actually need for the flight, even with a little to spare. I'll use that extra 100 this round because I'm going past the airport to turn around. See if we can see it here. I doubt you can see it at this distance. This one. Yeah, you can't really see it. I'll come down here and I'll turn around and come this way back to the airport. because I loaded the approach, I won't do anything until I'm lined up. I'll just disable the autopilot and land. I use the NXI mod. I obviously, I told you it's swaying because of. So I don't think you can actually enter approaches on the default G1000. It may be something the NX mod adds. I'm not going to swear to that. I'm not using all the passenger lights. I just tell them, hey, no smoking. Okay, you can unfasten your seatbelts. Nobody spill any Mai Tais. Get rid of the name tags just for fun. Don't want to crash land out in here. Alligators will eat you. I'm like right over the Everglades. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have a good enough map to tell, but I think I'm right over the Everglades National Park right now. I wonder if one of these maps would show that. Satellite maybe. Yeah, there it is. It actually has it listed. Everglades National Park. It's all lagging here. I don't know how big the park is, but we're going right over it. Shows it in two of them. Of course, not the one I use. The one I use I like because it gives you streets. These others don't give you the show you actual streets, which I use a lot. The 3 R's, if VFR flying, there's the 3 R's: roads, railroads, and rivers. Those are your what you want to look for, and you know they're definitive VFR landmarks. Of course, you can use others, but those are your primary ones. Clear the mainland out here, or clear land, whatever, that's real close to halfway. I'm not sure if it's a quirk of the game or not. Normally, I mean, in most aircraft you can get better fuel economy. Higher up, faster it goes, same power settings. And you can get better fuel economy the higher you go. I haven't found that 100% to be true in the game. And I've even done a bunch of math tests here's what I was getting, you know, and these are at all different altitudes. And then here's what I'm getting. You'll notice I'm actually, this number being an actual pounds per nautical mile calculation. And on these short flights, I'm actually averaging better fuel economy at lower altitudes. So, and that shouldn't really happen. Now, I'm not 100% accurate on my throttles, so that's probably a lot of it. 118, so 59, yeah, we got about 5 nautical miles before the halfway mark on this leg, so yeah, right about the coast. Second half's all over water, so boring. Good news, can I even see the packages I have loaded? Let's see. The packages. But that's not me. There I am. Yeah, see, these are all high dollar packages. I don't know exactly what all that means, but the number, I'm assuming the higher the number, I do know the higher the number, the better. But see, a lot of packages are much less. Let's see, database. Just random packages. Oh, these are the big ones. Just 88. No, it's not working. I never have had that work. It works when you load a flight. It'll load the correct packages for your aircraft. The random search of the whole database doesn't seem to work too much. Just too much in there, I think. We're a mile and a half past the halfway mark. With 430 pounds left out of the 600 I started with, so we got more than enough. We've used a third, and gone halfway. That isn't correct. I wonder if I can fix that. Huh. Well, that's where it would be. Let's comment that one out. This won't affect anything until you reload. In fact, I probably shouldn't do it while the game is running. But what the heck? Maybe I should have added the dash. See, it actually is showing right here. And I think that's what that line was. He's trying to blank it out, and it used to work, but I don't think it works anymore. They changed some stuff. Not sure what's correct there. With the dash or without, but is that the keys? There's the keys. Barely see it out there. I don't have the greatest settings. Mix between medium and high. I've got base medium settings, but all the FPS hitting stuff I kind of turn up. Unfortunately, terrain LOD and texture resolutions and things like that, I bump up. So the major stuff is kind of on high, the minor stuff is kind of on medium. What is that? We got gun turrets now? I don't remember those on this airplane. That's weird. Mosquitoes? Some huge mosquitoes. See, I can zoom in on that map one, Mike. See a little more. Nice. We're gonna turn short of my circle or my point, so it won't be too much out. 10 minutes. Let's see. Had to go get me some more coffee. And you can't see it from here, but somewhere between here and the mainland, there's several islands that we can't see as well. But there's the longest bridge, not the longest bridge, like in the world or anything, but the longest bridge, island to island. It's called the 7 Mile Bridge in there. Or at least I heard when I was a kid. I used to live south of Miami in Coconut Grove. I've actually driven down this US 1 to Key West before. US 1 is the main highway that goes from the tip of Key West all the way up out of Florida and along the coast. As far as I know, it goes all the way up the US coast. I know it goes as far as Maine. Okay, yeah, normally when I fly this, I'm coming in from the other direction. The wind's different than normal. And I'll cross right over the island and land in the other direction, over the islands. So I get to see US 1. This route I won't really see much, but the outside, I'm going a lot further west to line up with this other runway at the end. Yeah, it's usually like right in here, I think, somewhere that I'd have to cross and turn in that way. I think one of these down in here is going to be Key West. Guessing there it is. And that one, if that's two separate ones, I can't really see. Don't have that good of binoculars. Might have to do this route with just radio navigation on one trip. I do have a VOR on either end, right at the runway. Let's see, what is this? This is a high, so yeah, this one has a, you should have plenty of range. About this one. Come on. Yeah, both of them are high range VORs, so high altitude, whatever. They're pick them up for a good way. VOR is kind of obsolete now. I mean, even a jogging GPS, you know, one of the $50 GPSs you get at Wally World or wherever, would give you a direction and a distance to a waypoint you enter, and that would get you there. And they do make handheld aviation GPSs as well. That'll do full flight tracking. Like I say, actually, the cheap ones will do most everything you need. They'll give you, you know, altitude, distance to any waypoint you have the lat and longitude for. Uh, heading to that waypoint, and speed, all that good stuff. All this stuff I use all these numbers for here, you can get on any cheap GPS. And ground speed. This would just be a number, of course, waypoint 2 or whatever. And that won't plug into your autopilot. 18 miles to our turn. That's definitely Key West. And when people live on, it's all brown, and that's probably true to life. What is it the song says? We found paradise and put up a parking lot. Be able to see our approach here. Here's at now. So we'll turn and line up just perfectly. Low fuel came on because I'm only loading a little bit, short trips. That would be my minimum fuel figuring on this one. So, I'm thinking I need 3 and I have 5. And I loaded 6 just for fun, because I have the room for it. That's a little tight, really. That's absolute minimums. I mean, I've made it on less. I've even, here's what I've actually used to get there on 4 different trips. So I know using 3 times, so I know using that will actually get me on its own. So I cut down my reserves and everything to the minimum too. Right now there's a bunch of, this is a good paying route for me. There's a bunch of priority high dollar packages going from Miami to here. So I only make relatively normal wages going back, but coming down I make close to 50% more than normal. So and we're getting ready for our turn in 6 miles, 2 minutes. We'll go ahead and start descending. Get our descent. Actually, heck no. Let's wait till after the turn. Leave that alone. We have plenty of time. It's 11 miles in from the turn. 10 miles, but turn a little short. I tend to slow down and descend too soon. There we go. Start our turn. Autopilot's doing all of this. I'm still drinking coffee. Better slow down, trying to overspeed. And we're wobbling back and forth trying to get lined up, but it's zeroing up on its course here. Expedite it. I should have turned right before that turn, or descended right before that turn, really. Now I'm coming in high. There we go. Now more like it. And I'm not the greatest at the landings here. They give you feet per second and everything, and I never do real great on them. And FSAirlines, they do.
500.
Knot headwind might help me a little. Missed a good turn off there. Dang it. There's somebody going around. You're coming in the wrong way, dude. Probably an AI. They have, yeah, see, they have the windsock exactly backward. Well, no, it's not. That's right. I guess they fixed it. They used to have them backward. We're all 180 degrees off. Oh, 103. That's key. We're just gonna pull up here and park next to the building. We got packages to unload. At this point, as soon as you hit that, I'm done with FSAirlines. It's in flight. And so I'm just gonna do a quick Control Alt Delete. Set the airplane down. And that button there will allow me to get the logbook thing as soon as the engine all shuts off. There it goes. And that's it. That's another one in the books. Yeah, I didn't make much that one. See how terrible I did. You can see I've done that a lot. Yeah, mindlessly. Oops. I shouldn't show that part on a recording. Alright, well, I'm gonna take a break, maybe do another one after a bit. Have a good day.